Welcome to another edition of Around the Block, Crypto Edition style. Phillip, Artis, and Jasmin, Wallace are back on the show. For those who haven't seen episode 1, 2, and 3, I'll put it in the description below so you don't have to worry. Um, on today's agenda, we're going to talk about different factors that have negatively impacted Bitcoin and the performance of the crypto market. We're going to talk about why different crypto firms and exchanges such as Binance are freezing withdrawals. We'll talk about the Fed rate, US economic performance. We'll also do a bit of technical analysis in this video today to get some better insight into the crypto market using Vector to help you make the most informed trading decisions. So, Jasmin, Phil, how are you two doing today?
Doing well, recovering from a little bit of a sickness here, but feeling much better and happy to be here with you guys.
Glad
Yeah,
to
I'm
have you
doing
back.
well as well. Happy these prices are recovering a little bit. Got into some scary territory once we broke a few key levels, but right now it looks like things are stabilizing a bit. So, it's anyone's guess what happens next, but hopefully we continue to see this recovery.
Absolutely. Also, glad to have you back, Phil. I know you were often had an emergency surgery as well, so glad to have you back on. So, what's going on with the markets, Phil?
So from what I've been seeing, as everyone's been seeing, everything's been down. The entire crypto market cap has fallen by about 25-30%, bringing it to under 1 trillion for the first time since January 2021. I believe it's currently around 975 billion. Bitcoin, it has done some crazy movements over the last 7 days. Went down to as low as 18K, and I was talking about key levels. It had really been testing 20K for a while, and then on the weekend, it really just broke through it. Quickly dropped through 19, 18 went to 17.75 at one point, I believe. But once Monday rolled around, it seemed like it started rolling back. And the same with Ethereum, down about 40% over the last 7 days and went down to just under 900 on Saturday. So with the two largest cap coins performing so poorly, you could imagine what a lot of the altcoins were doing. The darlings of last year, Avalanche and Solana, they're both down 70 to 80% over the last 2 months. And as this crypto winter, it's looking like, is settling in, they may fall even further as people start to go to more stable. Oh, I say stable with quotes because we've seen what happens with stable coins in the past, but stable coins and some of the more blue chips. But there's been a lot of capital exiting the market, and I believe a lot of that has to do with just the macro scene. A lot of this downturn started with the latest CPI print, which was 8.6%. I believe expected was 8.2%. So that coming in a little higher than people expected created a lot of fear. And what was supposed to be a 50 basis point rate hike quickly turned into a 75 point basis rate hike. So I think that all of a sudden kind of shift in attitudes, especially with that CPI print, create a lot of fear in capital markets in general, and that obviously spread to the crypto market.
Interesting. Jasmin, would you like to add on that?
Yeah, we see that Bitcoin is starting to trade above its 20-day average, the moving day average. So it's looking much better. And of course, we can only have high hopes that it will continue to rise up. But, unless the war is kind of insolvent itself or the pandemic just magically gets wiped away, we can see an extended crypto winter. So I think it's just really about taking care holding down the fort here and hibernating a little bit and making sure that we're all making educated decisions and watching our risk management here.
Very nice, very nice. So recently, the U.S. has actually increased mortgage lending rates. It's now at a high of 5.78%, which is actually the highest since 1987. Inflation at a 40-year high last month at 8.6%. And some of the three biggest contributing factors are actually essential necessities such as shelter, food, and gas. Do you think this has any play into the market? Well, obviously, the traditional stock market has seen it played into the market, but the crypto market has it been impacted by these factors as well?
Absolutely. The funds that would be going towards these investments and towards these assets is now having to be increasingly spent on the necessities, food, gas in particular, like you mentioned. Even I think housing prices are just starting to go down, but even just looking for a first home was incredibly difficult. So I think a lot of the income that would be going towards crypto would be going towards stocks and other assets now has to be spent on more of the bare necessities.
Mm-hmm. And Powell, he actually made an adjustment to the CPI, Consumer Price Index. So could you explain to viewers what that is and how it works?
All right, yeah, no, I'll go for it. So the Consumer Price Index is essentially an average of basically what we spend as Americans on average, what we spend on things like food, what we spend on rent, home prices. It basically is an indicator of how our economy is doing.
Right.
So we like to keep it within expectations. I'm not an economist, so I don't know exactly what those numbers are. But when they're able to understand the CPI and where the, I guess, prices of these everyday items is going, then they're able to control factors that are able to, keep away inflation and, just help keep things more affordable. When they beat expectations or, when they come in surprisingly high, it creates a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty in the market. So it's really just a measure of how much it costs to live every day on average for people.
Perfect. That's perfect. And the CPI in place, the CPI increasing, negatively impacting the traditional stock market. Would you say that it's speculative in the sense that people will start to fear that they need to buy now rather than buy later? In that way, they're holding on to assets, for example, longer term, and they're not willing to sell, maybe less market movement.
I don't think so. I think people are running towards cash more so, to be honest. I believe, well, I think a lot of people know this, but assets are on different risk curves. With cash and the dollar being the safest, it's backed by the United States. The United States is probably never going to go bankrupt. So, things have been pretty stable over here. Whereas with an asset like a stock or an equity, you're not sure what the future of that might be, especially with these economic conditions. And then with crypto, it's even more, how should I say, difficult to understand because you have to factor in the technology along with the macro conditions, along with the players as well. So I think people, with all the uncertainty and what's safe and what's not, they're going towards what they know and what they believe in. And even like the stocks that they thought were safe before have been down, 70, 80% year to date. The typical FANG, Facebook, Alphabet, Netflix. Sure, I'm missing one, but those that were typically blue chip safe assets are now being reconsidered just because of the steep declines they've gone through as well. So I see people more waiting until things start to settle down and we stop seeing such jolts in the market before they really start to invest again.
Definitely great points. um, Global ventures, right? Global ventures and capital investment funding hit an all-time high in the first half of 2021 at 288 billion. This is insane. So it seems like the people who are really investing into startups has increased. It might bring some new innovation to the cryptocurrency market. Recently, we've seen a few crypto exchanges like Coinbase, we've seen Binance freeze withdrawals. In my point of view, this is a good thing, because it's keeping assets within the platform in a very volatile period within the traditional stock market. They want to keep liquidity in the market and keep the crypto market stable, like you mentioned earlier, right, to a certain extent. But just like in the flow in the stock market, the flow and supply of money is controlled to a certain extent as well, right? I don't know if you guys are aware, but in the traditional stock market, if the S&P drops 20% within a trading day, it actually halts trading until the end of the trading day, right? So in my opinion, if we analyze historical data of Bitcoin in the past, we could see that the cycle that we may be going through now could be a part of a longer term 5-10 year cycle where we may experience some lower lows and some future higher highs in the price of Bitcoin. What do you guys think?
I recently saw Rich Dad, talking about how to survive with soaring inflation, and how they spoke about, that the recession was coming back in 2008, and how they said it, in 2021 with everything happening. Watch your investments. Make sure you're making the right investments. You're doing the proper risk management. You're investing into things that you truly believe in, because a lot of people want to invest and just invest when it's high at the bottom. Everybody's saying, oh, it's hyped up right now, and then they just jump on a trend, right? So it's really important for people to learn about what they're doing and learn about the investment, the asset you're investing into. There's a reason why we invest into Bitcoin, to Ethereum. It's not just for any reason. It's not like we go and say, hey, I'm just going to invest into Apple because I'm an Apple user, right? You believe in the product, you believe in the asset, and that's why you invest. So it's kind of really pushing the fact that we need to get people to understand crypto, understand Web3, because it's taking us to new paths in the digital age here in the revolution. We're not going to turn back. And even with inflation, I see people, saying, okay, now it's waiting for the dips to buy. Don't just wait for those dips. While we're waiting for those dips, take the time to really get educated, watch more Crypto Hour, watch some vector videos, learn how to trade, and really get into it.
Nice. Well said. I'm just going to be the devil's advocate. With everything in light that's happening in today's crypto market, what would really lead new investors to start investing into the market? Do you think maybe that they're going to hold off for a longer period of time? Do you think whale wallets will continue to pull out of the crypto market as well, leading to smaller players like us, for example, to also sell?
Well, I think with the whales, it's a lot of whales need to go down to zero, for new opportunities for smaller players to join in. And I think that it's a good thing. I think that, every cycle has its highs and its lows, and this is just part of it. So it's a fact of, if, again, people either believe in it or they don't. And like Phillip said, people are going to run to what they know. So some people really believe in crypto and they're running to it, and some people are really opposite. So it just depends on, are they seeing anything that's going to change their minds in that point?
Mm-hmm. And do
I
you
think
guys?
we just stopped seeing a lot of the drama that's been going on in the market recently, particularly concerning things like Celsius and like Three Arrows Capital, who have basically been just liquidating everything left and right. That like they become forced sellers of millions, if not billions, of Bitcoin because of the positions they've had. And kind of the lack of risk controls they had in place. So I think once the dust settles, as well as besides being over leveraged in terms of financial capital, also human capital. I mean, Coinbase, you know, actually rescinded job offers that they gave people because they overhired, and it's unfortunate because these people, you know, got these jobs, were very excited about it. I'm sure probably gave their 2 weeks, and then they got an email saying, "Whoops, sorry, we did not plan properly. Therefore, you don't have a job here." And I think pretty much, I want to say like 4 out of 5 exchanges has done some sort of major employee cut. I'm not going to throw too many names out there. I know Coinbase is Gemini cut about 10% of their workers. Like I said, Coinbase
Bitso
laid off about 18%. BlockFi reduced its headcount by 20%. And crypto.com, I mean, literally, like everyone seemed to not see this coming, or seem to have not planned for it in terms of just kind of like you were mentioning, FOMO, like FOMOing into it, like let's get as many people going, let's get things going as quickly as possible, not doing the due diligence to really just like
they grew too fast.
Yeah, exactly.
They try to grow and they're like, yeah, let's go to the moon, and maybe didn't make sure that, you know, their rocket boosters were in place, or all their safeguards were. I mean, we have companies like Binance and Kraken actually still hiring right now. Kraken with over 500 open positions, Binance with 2,000 open positions. And if you really look at what they're saying, they said, you know, they were careful with their spending. Yeah, maybe Binance didn't get that really cool ad at the Super Bowl that they, of course, wanted, because he was financially preparing himself and the company to do better, no matter what happens, crypto winner or not. And maybe he did, you know, some crazy future telling, but it just, I think, goes to show again why risk management is so important, not only for us as traders, but for the companies that we're using as help with our trading, right? Investment companies like capitals, exchanges, and really also us being diligent about where we're putting our own money in and making sure that we're riding the wave properly. So always plan for the worst, right? Hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Yeah, proper planning leads to, you know, the best decision making. But I like where you went on that. I think it leads to better corporate governance, possibly. You look at other exchanges like FTX, that is actually moving in the opposite direction. They're actually going through a merger and acquisition of a Canadian exchange called Bitfo, which they're looking to land pretty soon.
FTX is just doing everything. They actually lent a line of about 250 million to BlockFi, because BlockFi was having all those issues. So like they just can't be stopped. That like SBF, and he actually, like, you know, he's spent so much money. What's crazy is like he's spent so much money. Like he has Tom Brady. He has like all the they bought the rights to the Heat Arena, and they do all these things. I think the difference is, I think their headcount is only about 250 employees, whereas Coinbase, I think, was in like the thousands. It was like 3,000, 4,000, something like that. So they're just, it seems like, yeah, FTX is just doing all the right things. Like I'm not sure what's so different, but Sam
They had a crystal
Bankman-Fried
ball. They were
knows,
just like,
yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried just knows the space.
Yeah, and there's one more point I think you wanted to mention, Jasmine, which is totally fine to mention on the show, which is
really excited because speaking of FTX, Vector, our lovely platform here, will now be having a offering for you to use your FTX US account as the exchange that you choose to connect. So great news as we see FTX just unstoppable, making new partnerships, new brands, new connections, and I can't wait to see where they go and where your trades go here on Vector as well.
yeah, and probably Sam Bankman-Fried didn't actually pay us to say this, so YouTube. Sorry, YouTube, you don't have to put that paid advertising button there, so we're good to go. So what's up with Three Arrows Capital, Phil? You mentioned that's something you wanted to talk about today.
Mm-hmm. So Three Arrows Capital is for those that are kind of big into like crypto Twitter. They're one of the most notable crypto native venture capital firms in the space. They basically have their hands in everything. They were one of like the really big champions of Avalanche. They started putting that red triangle you see like in everyone's names, like they always had that in there. Aave, which is one of the biggest lending profiles, Axie Infinity, Deribit, and unfortunately they were one of the biggest backers in Terra Luna as well, so they lost right off the bat. I think $500 million with that, and I think in May, that their estimated assets under management were around 10 to 15 billion. So easily like a top 5 VC firm by any metric. And one of the co-founders, Zusu, he's like one of these like thought leaders. I don't know if you all know Kobe on crypto Twitter, but they have like hundreds of thousands of followers, and they tweet these cryptic things, and everyone like takes it as gospel and tries to find out what they're doing next. But it's interesting, like how in equities you don't see these billionaires come on and engage people in Twitter and kind of talk about what they believe in or post or really give any sort of thoughts to what's going on. But like you'd hear from this guy Zusu all the time, and they had all of these massive seed round investments and were really, really just leveraged in everything. And then all of a sudden, Terra Luna happens. They had, like I said, a bunch locked up. It's about $500 million. It's worth about $600 now, to put it in perspective. And from there, what they did was they tried to revenge trade. And you never want to trade when you're that emotional. They tried to make it back. They started taking out unsecured loans from certain lenders, Celsius being one of them, actually, and are now unable to pay back a lot of them. So they had margin calls from several of the biggest lenders, including BlockFi, Genesis, as well as some other large lenders. And now it's looking like they could potentially be insolvent. I mean, they're really still selling everything they can. People think that Celsius is one of the biggest sellers of ETH, and that's why the ETH price is going down. But it's really Three Arrows Capital. So they're really just dumping everything they can to be able to pay this back. So not only, is there an issue with their investors now, as well as their investments and the projects that they were investing in, but now they're selling these assets and really just pushing the price down. And for the most part, there really hasn't been much of a response from them. The only thing we've heard is from their founder Zusu saying we're talking with all parties to basically work out this situation, but from someone who's used to tweeting 3, 4, 5 times a day about random stuff, it's kind of scary. So that's potentially $15 billion of crypto that just went insolvent, and for a industry whose market cap is just about 975 billion, that could be a major loss right there. And what's happening is all of these things are kind of, it's almost a contagion. First it was Terra Luna, and now the Terra Luna is leading to the 3 Arrows Capital issue, and the 3 Arrows Capital issue is leading to the Celsius issue because 3 Arrows Capital is borrowing from Celsius. So it's like just this ugly.
It's all connected.
Yeah, it's all connected, and so that's why I think things need to calm down. We need the dust to settle. We need to find out who's actually still solvent. It's kind of like with the FOMC meetings, the Fed meetings. People are kind of nervous leading up until what's it going to be, and even if it's kind of above what they're expecting, in terms of the interest rate, at least they know what it is. It's almost like the fear is worse than actually knowing, even if it is slightly worse than you'd imagine. So I think there's a lot of fear of what's the next domino to fall, after Celsius, after 3 Arrows Capital, and Celsius in particular, just because it was such a well-known company, and they advertised it as basically a better bank, kind of like the Anchor protocol that Terra Luna did. It's a better bank. We really need to stop using terms like that, to be honest, and come up with our own, and just I don't know, because a lot of them are very misleading, and it lends people to invest in things that they think are safer than they really are because of terminology like that. So things like savings protocols and banks, a new bank and everything, and all this. I think we need to just be more responsible with that kind of rhetoric, because it attracts people who are familiar with those terms, but not necessarily the technology behind it, as well as the business.
Yeah, that goes into play with the sort of ethics of the crypto market and the regulation, right? They can use a bunch of different buzzwords to try and grab our attention, but at the end of the day, really, what's behind what they're saying? What's the substance, right? Is it sustainable? It's not really providing the full picture and full disclosure to the buyers, right? Do you think maybe ICOs in the future should be more detailed?
I personally have never been part of an ICO. I've read a lot of white papers. I think there should be standards for white papers, criteria or best practices, I guess, for white papers, to be able to make them more digestible to the average person. So I think just really being able to clarify things and then not oversell, because I think they really do a good job of explaining it. It's very hard to make it sound simple. And then the marketing is tough, because you want to separate yourself from the thousands of other coins out there. So it's kind of like a balancing act of being responsible, but also wanting to grow. And if you really believe in your project, show the world, how amazing it is, and, let them use it.
I mean, I think it's really just a case of people need to just stop being crappy people. They need to be held accountable, and we need to hold each other accountable as humans. Yes, there's always going to be bad But there's a lot of good. I mean, there's a lot of great companies coming to light that maybe now a lot of people are worried or scared about because of, our peers here maybe not doing the best for the other people involved, right? I mean, with Celsius, Alex is just very going abroad, like talking about being a better bank and how you completely turn away from the banking systems and come to Celsius. We're better. And, works with a lot of sketchy people. Come to find out, a lot of the people that ended up working with him just not very knowledgeable in the space. Went from one of the people there, went from making adult films to managing thousands of accounts with like barely any experience, or people that were held under embezzling information and things like that. It just makes you question, who is the person behind the project and who's the person behind what they're pushing as a product and platform, and maybe seeing more transparency and openness from the new ones coming out will really help kind of push that fear away. That's something that, I think will hold off a lot of investors and new investors, is all of this drama, like Phillip said. And until we can clear this up and get some more transparency, some openness from companies and their founders, it's not going to go away. Celsius now turning to Citibank, a bank, for help, kind of just leaving everybody in the dust, saying like, we'll be back, we're focusing on fixing this and we'll be back. But that's not good enough. People deserve answers, people deserve the time, even if it takes longer. Like, you need to be there for the people that you brought on board and stick with it, be held accountable to what you did.
Absolutely. So more transparency, more openness in the market, and more accountability that will come, hopefully. Have you guys heard anything about Elon Musk and his lawsuit?
Oh man, I was waiting for you to ask. Oh,
Okay.
this is super exciting, I think, to me, because a lot of people think that he was just being, a manipulator in the market, but it seems like he just really loves Dogecoin. What his exact reasonings are, I mean, I think he just really believes in it. He thought it was a fun product, fun token, and he wants to push it. And he's not backing down. He's like, I'm going to continue tweeting about Dogecoin because, well, I guess it's his right as an American, here in America, to freedom of speech. And he didn't really do anything illegal. And I think that this lawsuit is insolvent in itself. It's just a way to get a lot of drama, get some big names, and hopefully get some money out of it. But I don't think it's going anywhere. I think Elon Musk stands by Dogecoin, and I think all of the Muskers stand by him and his tweets. So I really think it's going to be fine. He's going to be a-okay, and we need to stop suing people for everything.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Elon at the helm. That was really shocking to see that the shareholders unanimously, agreed, just because there was so much back and forth and so much drama about the true bot count and this and that. And yeah, for a while it felt like he was going to exit it. And I feel like that also like kind of hurt the market a bit, because people were like, hey, it sounds like he's really going to involve a lot of crypto in this, whether it be Doge or anything else. I mean, you can see now, I don't know if you all have been on Twitter recently, but you can connect your wallets now. You can connect your Bitcoin wallet, your Ethereum wallet, your whatever network you're on. Like, it's crazy. And now there's like a tip button, like right at the end. Like it's wild.
It's really
and I'm
cool.
guessing that, yeah, it probably had something to do with this, but it's really cool, that they finally reached that, because I keep hearing about a decentralized like social media, and it's like, yeah, like that's a cool idea, but how long is that going to take? It's kind of like, these Web3 games, like, yeah, they work, but how long till they're going to be fun? Yeah, so I think it's going to be really interesting to see what he does. And obviously the rest of the community is. I think Shiba's up like 30% and Doge is up like 15% on the news. So I think they're expecting some sort of payment system involving that. But it looks like, I think he might have other things involved too, like other cryptos involved too, besides SHIB and Doge. But obviously I think those would get some preferential treatment if he's at the helm.
Yeah, Elon Musk is he's trying to stay popular right now. His name popping up, even in the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. With everything going on with Tesla, even Tesla had some major layoffs with 10% reduction in salaried employees. A lot of people also got rescinded job offers, were only there for 2 weeks and then, got cut. Also forcing everybody to go back into the office, which, I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? You think that he was wrong for that, for like forcing everybody to go back into the office, or you think he was rightfully in power to do so?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, with everything that's happening today and all the disease that's being spread, we got COVID, even got monkeypox spreading across the world now. So
It's because of
I
the
don't
board
know.
apes.
Yeah. I think that there should be some
Monkeypox
sort
is
of
no
balance.
joke. That's scary.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So I think that there should be some type of balance to have some sort of control measures as a result. Maybe, a hybrid model would work. Um, but I know a lot of places, even in Brazil, are going back to work presentially, or people have the option to follow the hybrid model. How about in the United States? Have there been any sort of press releases where, to stimulate the economy, we should open up businesses once more to all employees? Has there been anything like that happen recently, or?
Not that I've seen, and I mean, like you said, there's almost like a new disease emerging or an old disease re-emerging every day now, and I think as life goes on, we do have to go back to some type of normalcy. But I think that all employers should consider remote work, not only because it offers more flexibility to maybe some people that have autoimmune disorders like myself, or someone who wants to work but maybe doesn't have the opportunity to have a vehicle in the moment. There's a lot of great workers. I know that it's kind of hard because people are like, oh, when people work from home, maybe they slack off, but people slack off in the office as well. It happens all the time. People get away with things all the time. I think that maybe we should take more measures on valuing and seeing great employees and maybe ranking that and setting up a system where, as long as you're doing a really great job and you're meeting all your metrics, like you should have an option of hybrid or remote work. It's definitely something I think should be more inclusively talked about, because like for myself, being with a child under 2, having lupus, it would be really scary if Neologica was like, oh, you have to go back into the office every single day. And, we don't know where our coworkers are always going. It's still a very scary time. And we want to be able to protect our families and our friends. I know a lot of people live with their parents. So just a little bit of a tough love, I think he gave them. And I know that he only wants what's best for Tesla, but definitely think he was a little bit rough with that decision.
I think around here, things have been opening up a lot. I think we might have been a lot more closed down than Florida was, though, Jasmin.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah. I know New York has definitely opened up a lot more, but particularly over the last year. I mean, NFT NYC is this week. I know. I think that was, something was going on with it last year, but there's a lot, a lot of conferences that weren't going on last year that are going on this year. People are starting to come out and do stuff. And also, I mean, I don't know about you, but they're trying to get us out to like go to the beach and stuff. So like things at the beach are free and everything. It seems like they're just trying to get people outside enjoying everything again. But that's just for my state. So yeah, but.
Well, I'd love to see everyone in the comments kind of tell us, what their state is doing. It's always nice to see like, oh, some states are, opening back up. Some of us are still being, regulatory. Florida is always open. So if you guys ever want to visit us, we're always open. We basically never shut down.
I've always lived along the East Coast, in between New York City and Florida. I'd probably have to choose New York City. But if I had to choose a coast, I'd have to choose the West Coast because it's the best coast. At the end of the day, I'm sorry, guys. But
Oh, really? Oh, really? Okay. But I mean, I guess we can't say that it's as hot anymore because everywhere is getting really hot. I was recently at the Consensus in Texas. It was 110 degrees. We were all walking out there in the blazing sun, people riding the little scooters everywhere. And although it was crazy, it was so much fun. I think it goes to show that although we're in a crypto winter, we're all crazy here at in the crypto world, and we're not going to back down. Some people were saying the Consensus was like a goodbye party. I think it was the opposite. I think it was a party of like welcoming all of the new people that will be able to join into the crypto stages. NFTs aren't going anywhere right now. I mean, like anywhere but up, really. Even though prices are down, like NFTs are exploding. Companies are joining every day. I saw that Balmain was making a collection with fashion. So we see NFTs really picking up in every space. Um, NFT NYC, I saw hundreds of people going already, some hotels displaying NFT artist work. And it's just amazing to see the community really coming together and supporting all the artists. And I think that that's some of the most exciting things. And that's why we should not hold back on investing into crypto, because right now might be a great time to invest into a really small artist that needs the support right now. So if you guys are able to invest into those artists, see the ones that are really putting out meaningful work. I know in Texas they were incorporating a lot of artist work on the buildings on the outside, and really just showing everyone what we have to offer here in Web3 and DeFi.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great place to be. And I wish I was at NFT NYC, Phillip. I don't know, or I wish you could go so you could tell us, but looks like it's going to be great.
Yeah, I actually forgot to ask you, Jasmine. How did it go? Consensus 2022.
Like I said, it was crazy. I think the hardest part was that there was over 30 talks happening almost always at the same time. And instead of like a normal convention where you're just set in like the convention center, there was multiple locations, and depending on your pass, you could get into some and some couldn't get into any. Um, and I mean, I even saw McLaren talking about minting supercars in the metaverse. We saw a lot of great talks about DeFi and how to set up your own wallet, how to set up NFT wallets. Really, a huge amount of knowledge, wealth of knowledge going around. Really great connections. I know Nelogica was able to have some really great connections while we were there, and I made some really great women connections. So hopefully we'll be seeing some more crypto hour women coming aboard and kind of empowering other women to join us here. But overall, I think that the message really was that crypto is not going anywhere. Crypto is new and exciting, and we need to continue to open arms to all of these new brands coming in. I know Budweiser, Stella has their own NFTs now at the NFT gallery there, and really just really happy to see so many people being happy and kind of coming back out into the community.
That's great. So people are going outside, going to conferences, going to these events, sort of boost the crypto market, sort of engage the community, which is awesome. Great to hear, Jasmine. I would like to share my screen, if I may, and let's take a look at what's going on with some of the charts. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Nice. So here we have Bitcoin as it is at the moment. But if we take a look at the financial volume, you can start to see it pick up around the 13th, right? You saw a huge spike there, candle 164. You saw it drop, consolidate, and start to pick up again. So it's interesting to see what's actually happening there. Here we can actually see a comparison of the buyers and the sellers aggression in the market at the moment. So we can see a huge force of buyers. So, you know, I don't want to give financial advice, but it looks like there's a huge influx of buyers at the moment. You can see that looking at this heat map that the market is getting greener than it was earlier today. And this here is our time in sales, which actually shows us live buys and sells in real time, which is awesome. So that sort of gives us some good insight.
Looks like after the relief rally, I think it happened right around Monday, like you said, the RSI is kind of neutral around 53, level 53, and it's trading above the 20-day moving average, which looks really good. But currently it is looking a little bit oversold, I would say, with a lot of sellers trying to sell in and a lot of buyers coming in to buy. So it's good to see a lot of green, and hopefully we can keep that relief rally going and pushing for more green.
Yeah, I think this was the first week in Bitcoin's history that it closed. What was it? Under the 200 week SMA. Are you able to pull up the 200 SMA, Marwan?
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember them counting that and saying that that was something that never happened. Is that the MA or the SMA? Oh, is that just the moving average? Okay. Do you have the SMA or just the moving average, the simplified one?
I mean, it looks like a lot of people that maybe prior couldn't have a whole Bitcoin are becoming whole coiners in these, little dips and kind of playing off of those points and finally joining the club. I saw some people, excited about being able to hold a whole Bitcoin at this point. I know a few of us are still far away from there, but hopes are that we continue to go higher and, you accumulate in your accounts accordingly.
That's actually a simple moving average, my friend. Look at that. There we have the
there it is. There it is.
Longer term view.
Right? Yeah, really dipped under that, and this is the so it's really testing that. I know a lot of people are looking at that as a real big zone of support. So maybe it's flipped and turned into a zone of resistance now. But it'll be interesting to watch.
Now it looks like we're getting some resistance at about 2021 currently. In the past few days here.
Right around here, eh? Yeah, there's some resistance, some support.
Yeah, the big psychological level too, just like for people in general, I feel like once it breaks whole numbers like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely an interesting time in the market, and based on this analysis, we could probably bet that the price is going to rise above again. Let's add another indicator on this chart here. Yeah. Do you guys remember my squeeze strategy on Bollinger Bands?
Yeah. It's very, very narrow right there, my friends. Looks like it's
there's a squeeze.
It exploded.
There's a squeeze. Yeah. And then shortly after, we saw the bands expanding, right? And then the candles, they penetrated through the lower band and are starting to rise up again past the support levels. So what we're seeing is the rise of Bitcoin once again, or at least I hope so. But if it does pass this moving average here and gives continuation, passing this moving band could be a good indication of buy. So it should be interesting.
I mean, we had about a 20% chance. So coming in from like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would say from Thursday up until Monday, we had a 20% chance of either going up or completely bottoming out, and people talking about Ethereum being down at like $100, right? So it looks like we barely made it into that percentage right there and saved ourselves, I would say, because we didn't get to see Ethereum hit that low, although that would have been really great for some of our wallets to accumulate some more Ethereum. I don't know if it's going to bottom out after this. If we look at some of the past cycles, it looks like we may have another drop, but then it'll continue to rally back up after that next drop. I think it's very dependent right now on all of the news and the drama. The war with Ukraine still going on, still affecting crypto as well, affecting all of our markets, and this pandemic that never seems to go away.
Yeah, it's really up to the macro picture at this point. Like at the end of the day, crypto and digital assets are risk-on assets. So as it gets riskier, people will tend to back away. As we get more confident, people will get back towards it. So it's really just a matter of all this fear, whether it's in the market or in our real lives, in terms of inflation, the war, other things like that. I think people are more focused on more important things right now, putting their money in safe places, making sure they survive the bear market rather than try and catch a falling knife and get wrecked.
Absolutely. It's a very, very challenging time that we're facing at the moment. Just wanted to take a look at some of this on-chain data using the network data tool. We could see the mvrv take a sharp decline around the 7th of June and starting to recover from then. But the mvrv is the market value to realized value. It talks about the sentiment of how people see that they are rich. It talks about the income that is provided through the blockchain by holders, right? And you can see here that it's pretty darn low. And usually when it's this low, when it's below 1 especially, it's an indication that it is a good buy signal, right? So we're going to see a reversal in the market sometime soon. The other end, we have this yellow chart here behind it, and that's the hash rate. That is the blockchain's health. So the higher the hash rate, the healthier the network is. And it actually looks pretty darn healthy, especially in June, despite the fact that the price is down, which is also a good indication that the performance of the market should be restabilizing itself in the short term. So I think we have some good news. I think we could focus on this and be a bit more optimistic about the market. And I really want to thank you both again for participating in today's Crypto Hour.
Thanks for having us.
Always a pleasure.
So thanks. Always a pleasure to have you both on the show. For whoever's watching, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, activate notifications, and we'll see you all on the other side soon. Take care, everyone.
Be safe.
Be safe.